Stop trying so hard to make things happen. That's exactly why your desires keep slipping away from you. What if I told you that the secret to manifesting everything you want happens while you sleep? When you finally stop forcing and start allowing, your mind is working against you right now. Every desperate thought, every anxious moment of checking if your manifestation has arrived yet, every second of doubt is pushing your desires further away. But tonight, that changes, because what you're about to learn isn't just another meditation technique. This is an ancient practice that rewires your subconscious mind while your conscious mind rests. Your body knows how to heal itself while you sleep. Your mind knows how to create reality while you dream. The question is, are you ready to get out of your own way? Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You've been doing manifestation all wrong. You sit there during the day, forcing affirmations, visualizing until your head hurts, checking your bank account every 5 minutes to see if the money showed up yet. You're gripping so tight that you're choking the life out of your desires before they can even take form. Think about the last time you really wanted something. I mean, really wanted it. You thought about it constantly. You worried about it. You wondered when it would come. You felt that tension in your chest, that knot in your stomach, that desperate energy. And what happened? Either it didn't come at all, or it came in some twisted way that wasn't what you actually wanted. That's because desire mixed with desperation creates resistance. And resistance is the brick wall between you and everything you want. You've been running full speed into that wall, wondering why your head hurts and your manifestations aren't working. The monks understood something that modern manifestation teachers completely miss. They knew that the secret isn't in the wanting, it's not in the trying, it's in the surrendering. But not the kind of surrender where you give up. The kind of surrender where you become so aligned with your desire that you don't need to chase it anymore. You become it, and the best time to do this? When your conscious mind, that part of you that doubts and worries and questions everything, finally shuts up and goes to sleep. The paradox of effort. Let me ask you something. When you fall asleep at night, do you try to fall asleep? I mean, really try? Most people do. They lay there, eyes closed, thinking, I need to fall asleep, I need to fall asleep, I have to wake up early tomorrow. And what happens? They lay there for hours, completely awake. But then the moment they stop trying, the moment they surrender to just lying there, sleep comes naturally, without effort, without force. This is the first principle you need to understand. Effort creates tension. Tension creates resistance. Resistance blocks flow. And manifestation is pure flow. When you want something and you try really hard to get it, you're telling the universe, I don't have this thing. I'm separate from this thing. I need to struggle to obtain this thing. That's the energy you're putting out. That's the signal you're broadcasting. And the universe, which is just a mirror reflecting your inner state back to you, says, okay, you don't have it, you're separate from it, you need to struggle. And it gives you more of that experience. The masters knew this. They didn't sit around trying to force enlightenment. They didn't meditate 12 hours a day while thinking, I must achieve, I must achieve, I must achieve. They practiced, yes, but their practice was about releasing effort, not adding more of it. Think about a seed growing into a tree. Does the seed struggle? Does it wake up every morning and think, okay, today I really need to try hard to become a tree? No, it simply follows its nature. It surrenders to the process. The blueprint is already inside. The intelligence is already there. All it needs is the right conditions and time. You are the same. The blueprint of your desires is already inside you. The intelligence to manifest them is already present. You don't need to force it into existence. You need to create the right conditions and allow it to emerge. And sleep is the perfect condition, because during sleep, your ego takes a break. That voice in your head that says, "This is impossible. Who do you think you are? You're not good enough. This never works for people like you," finally goes quiet. And in that silence, your deeper self can do the real work. Your subconscious mind doesn't sleep. It's always working, always processing, always creating. While you dream, it's sorting through the events of your day, integrating information, solving problems you couldn't solve while awake. Scientists have proven this. People who sleep on a problem often wake up with a solution, but it goes deeper than problem solving. Subconscious mind is also the bridge between you and the field of infinite possibility. Some call it the quantum field. Some call it universal consciousness. Some call it God. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that this field responds to your dominant vibration, your persistent thoughts, your deeply held beliefs. And here's the thing about beliefs. They're not formed by what you consciously think about for 5 minutes during your morning affirmations. They're formed by what your subconscious accepts as true. And your subconscious is most receptive right before sleep and right after waking. Those liminal states where you're not quite awake and not quite asleep, that's when the door is open. That's when you can plant seeds directly into the garden of your subconscious mind without your conscious mind standing at the gate saying, "That's not realistic, that's not possible, who are you kidding?" So the paradox is this: the less you try to manifest during your waking hours, the more powerfully you can manifest during your sleeping hours. Because trying implies lack, allowing implies abundance, and your subconscious knows the difference. Think about the things that have come easily to you in life, the opportunities that just appeared, the people who showed up at the right time, the solutions that came out of nowhere. Did you force any of those? Did you stay up at night stressing about them? Probably not. They flowed to you because you weren't blocking them with desperation and need. Now think about the things you've wanted desperately. The things you've chased and pursued and tried so hard to make happen. How many of those actually worked out? How many of them came easily? Most likely, the harder you tried, the more they seemed to slip away. That's not punishment. That's not the universe being cruel. That's just the natural law of energy. Desperate energy repels. Relaxed energy attracts. When you're relaxed, you're open. When you're open, things can flow to you. When you're tense and grasping, you're closed. And nothing can get through a closed fist. This is why sleep is so powerful for manifestation. You can't be tense while you're sleeping. You can't grip and grasp while you're unconscious. Your body naturally relaxes. Your mind naturally lets go. And in that state of complete surrender, your deepest desires have space to take root in your subconscious. Not because you're trying to plant them there, but because you're finally not trying at all. You're just being, just existing, just allowing. And in that allowing, magic happens. Not the kind of magic you see in movies, the kind of magic that's happening all around you all the time. Cells dividing, hearts beating, planets spinning, life growing. All without effort, all through natural intelligence, all through surrender to what is. You have access to that same intelligence, that same natural flow, but only when you stop fighting it. Only when you stop trying to control every detail. Only when you trust that the same force that grows trees from seeds and creates galaxies from dust can also manifest your desires. Not because you're special, but because you're part of the same creative force. You're not separate from it, you're an expression of it. And when you align with it instead of resisting it, when you allow instead of force, when you surrender instead of struggle, everything changes. Not overnight, but inevitably. Because you're finally working with the current instead of against it, emptying the cup. There's an old story about a master and a student. The student came to the master talking constantly about everything he knew, all his theories, ideas about enlightenment. The master said nothing. He simply poured tea into the student's cup. He kept pouring even as the cup filled up, even as the tea spilled over onto the table, onto the floor. The student shouted, "Stop! Can't you see the cup is full? No more will go in." The master smiled and said like this cup, "You are full of your own opinions and ideas. How can I show you anything unless you first empty your cup? Your mind is that cup. Right now it's full of worries about bills, full of resentment about the past, full of anxiety about the future, full of other people's opinions about what you should want and who you should be, full of doubts and fears and limiting beliefs. And you're wondering why your manifestations aren't showing up, because there's no room. The cup is full. Before you can fill your subconscious with the new story, with the desired reality, you have to empty it of the old story, the current reality that you keep rehearsing in your mind every single day. Most people spend their entire day thinking about what is. They wake up and immediately start thinking about their problems, the job they hate, the relationship that's not working, the money they don't have, the body they're unhappy with. They scroll through social media and compare their life to everyone else's highlight reel. They watch the news and fill their mind with fear and disaster. They complain to their friends about everything that's wrong. Then they wonder why their meditation isn't working. They sit down for 10 minutes, try to visualize something better, and then spend the other 23 hours and 50 minutes of their day focused on what they don't want. That's like planting a beautiful garden and then spending all day watering the weeds. Sleep gives you a natural reset. Every night you get a chance to empty the cup, to release the day, to let go of who you were and what happened, and to prepare the soil for new seeds. But most people don't use it this way. They bring all their stress into bed with them. They replay the argument they had. They worry about tomorrow's meeting. They check their phone one more time. They fall asleep with their mind racing, their body tense, their energy scattered. And then they have restless dreams, or no dreams at all, and they wake up tired even though they slept 8 hours. Because they never actually rested. They never actually emptied the cup. The practice begins with emptying, with releasing, with letting go. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it's not. It means acknowledging what is, accepting it without resistance, and then consciously choosing to shift your focus. Because here's what most people don't understand about manifestation. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. What you are is determined by what you consistently focus on and how you consistently feel. If you consistently focus on lack and feel anxious, you manifest more situations that make you feel anxious and experience lack. If you consistently focus on abundance and feel grateful, you manifest more situations that make you feel grateful and experience abundance. It's not magic, it's frequency. Everything is vibration. Science proved this 100 years ago. Your thoughts are vibrations. Your emotions are vibrations. The things you want to manifest are vibrations. When your vibration matches the vibration of your desire, the desire must manifest. It's law. But you can't match the vibration of wealth while obsessing about debt. You can't match the vibration of love while focused on loneliness. You can't match the vibration of health while identifying as sick. So you empty the cup. You release identification with the old story, and you create space for the new story to take root. This happens naturally during sleep if you allow it. Your brain waves slow down, your body relaxes, your grip on reality loosens. You enter a state where anything is possible because you're not arguing with reality anymore. You're not resisting what is. You're just floating in pure potential. This is the state you want to cultivate consciously before sleep. Not trying, not forcing, just gently releasing and allowing. Think about a glass of muddy water. If you keep stirring it, the mud stays suspended, the water stays cloudy. But if you just let it sit, if you stop interfering, the mud naturally settles to the bottom. The water becomes clear all by itself. Your mind is the same. If you keep stirring it with worry and stress and negative thoughts, it stays cloudy. But if you let it settle, if you create space for stillness, clarity comes naturally. You don't have to force clarity, you just have to stop creating muddiness. That's what emptying the cup really means. It means stopping constant stirring, stopping the mental noise, stopping the endless replay of problems and fears. Not forever, just for a moment, just long enough to let things settle, just long enough to create some space. And that space is where new possibilities can enter. That space is where your desires can finally find room to grow, because they were always trying to come in. You were just too full to receive them, too busy complaining about what you don't have to notice what's trying to arrive, too focused on the old story to see the new story trying to write itself. Sleep is your daily opportunity to empty, to release, to start fresh. But you have to use it consciously. You have to prepare for it. You have to create a transition between your day and your night, between your waking chaos and your sleeping peace, between the old you and the new you. And that transition begins the moment you decide to let go of today and prepare for tomorrow. Not tomorrow's tasks, not tomorrow's problems, tomorrow's possibilities, tomorrow's potential, tomorrow's version of you who has already become what you're trying to become. The bridge between worlds. There are two worlds you live in simultaneously, the physical world and the mental world. Most people think the physical world is the real one, and the mental world is just thoughts, just imagination, just fantasy. They have it backwards. The mental world is where everything begins. Every single thing in the physical world was once just a thought in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the building you're in, the phone in your hand. Someone imagined it first. Someone held it in their mind as a possibility. And then, through focus and action and time, it materialized in physical form. You are doing this every single day, whether you realize it or not. You're constantly imagining your future. The question is, are you imagining the future you want or the future you fear? Most people imagine the future they fear. They lie in bed at night and worry. They create elaborate scenarios of everything that could go wrong. They rehearse conversations where people reject them. They visualize outcomes where they fail. They feel the emotions of disappointment and embarrassment and loss before anything has even happened. And then they're shocked when those exact scenarios show up in their physical reality. They say I knew this would happen, as if they predicted the future. They didn't predict anything. They created it. Because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. This is scientifically proven. When you vividly imagine something, your brain fires the same neural pathways as if you were actually experiencing it. Athletes use this. They visualize their performance before competition, and their body responds as if they already did it. Their muscles learn. Their nervous system adapts. And when the real moment comes, it feels familiar. You are an athlete in the game of life. And every night before sleep, you have the opportunity to rehearse tomorrow, next week, next year. To rehearse the version of yourself that already has what you desire. To feel what it feels like. To think how that version of you thinks. To see through their eyes. This isn't just positive thinking. This is building a bridge between the mental world and the physical world. You're training your subconscious to accept this new reality as normal, as natural, as inevitable. The bridge is strongest right before sleep because that's when your brain is naturally shifting from beta waves, the waking analytical state, to alpha waves, the relaxed creative state, to theta waves, the deep meditative dream state, and eventually delta waves, the deepest sleep state. Theta is the sweet spot. Theta is where hypnosis happens, where deep meditation happens, where you access the subconscious directly without interference from the conscious mind. Children spend most of their time in theta until about age 7. That's why they're so impressionable. That's why they believe in magic and possibility without question. Their critical mind hasn't developed yet. You can return to theta every single night. In that state, you can impress upon your subconscious any reality you choose, not by force, not by desperation, but by gentle, consistent repetition, by falling asleep in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is what separates people who successfully manifest from people who just dream and hope. The successful ones build the bridge. They don't just think about what they want during the day and forget about it at night. They live in the end result. They inhabit it. They claim it mentally before it appears physically. And they do this most powerfully in that space between waking and sleeping, when the bridge is most accessible, when the veil is thinnest, when consciousness can move freely between both worlds. You are not separate from your desires. That's an illusion. In the mental world, in the realm of consciousness, you already have everything. You already are everything. The physical world is just catching up to reflect what you hold in mind. But it can only catch up if you hold it consistently, if you return to it again and again, if you fall asleep in it and wake up in it. The bridge is always there. You cross it every night, whether you know it or not. The question is, what are you carrying across? Fear or faith? Lack or abundance? The old story or the new story? Most people carry their problems across. They take their worries from the waking world into the dream world. They contaminate their sleep with the pollution of their day. And then they wonder why they wake up feeling heavy, why their life never changes, why their circumstances stay the same year after year, because they're using the bridge to reinforce what they don't want, instead of creating what they do want. They're building the wrong thing in the mental world and expecting the physical world to somehow give them something different. But it can't, it won't, it never will. Because the physical always follows the mental. Always, without exception. This is not belief. This is not philosophy. This is observable reality.